So today we are here talking with Peter Lopez, who is an MCJ grad, spring 21. Is that correct?
Yep.
Right. And digital major. And he is currently a digital content producer over at KMPH Fox 26 here in Fresno. So thank you for joining us and answering our student questions. And
Thank
like
you
I
for
said, that
having
was a
me.
total broadcast introduction there with the head bob and everything. We'll start with the easy questions. Who are you and what do you do?
Cool. So my name is Peter Lopez, and as you mentioned, I am a recent grad from Fresno State. I majored in print initially, but then it transitioned to digital, which makes more sense given the state of print, if I may say. Let's see. I am, as you also mentioned, a digital content producer with KMPH Fox 26 News here in Fresno. I basically operate the station's website. I'm in charge of their social media channels, basically whatever social media channel you can think of, I'm running it or trying to, with the help, of course, of others. And born and raised in Fresno, married, 34, homeowner, no pets, no kids, but hopefully soon.
Excellent. So how did you decide to focus on digital? You said it was print and then it became the major, just organically became digital. So obviously that played a part of it, but how did you decide on print as opposed to any other form of journalism? And I guess journalism in general, what attracted you to that?
So print, I would say, has been my heritage. When I first started going to Fresno City College, I was a reporter for the Rampage, which is the newspaper there at the college. I got promoted to entertainment editor, and then I just fell in love with writing and reporting about entertainment, talking to people, doing interviews. And I just sort of ran with that. And then when I got to Fresno State, I actually changed my major to be a broadcast major, but I couldn't deal with a class that had script writing. And I took the class thinking that it was writing scripts for broadcast, but it was like a movie script thing, and I just couldn't get with it. And I was like, what does this have to do with journalism? And so I totally went to an advisor and switched to print. It got switched to organically got switched to digital, which again makes sense. And then, that's sort of where I went with it.
So how'd you end up in TV?
I sort of just took the first thing that I could, as I'm sure all grads know, like you need to start working. There's no more school, there's no more homework. So you need to get out there and start getting your hands dirty. I put in an application with KMPH Fox 26. A good pal of mine, Liz Gonzalez, helped me out with that, as did you, Carrie. And I got the job there, and I've been there ever since. And it's been a ride.
So how did you start that process? You kind of touched on it. You had a connection there.
Yeah. So I learned very early on, even like I would say basically when I was going to Fresno City, you need to network. You need to talk to people. You need to be a nice person. Check your ego, leave all that at home. Don't take that with you, but you just have to talk to people. I started reaching out to Corn Hoggard at ABC 30 just to pick his brain on Twitter. And he's a very nice person. And he was responding to all of my messages, and it sort of helped me kind of get used to not only reaching out to random people, but also, getting a feel for just reaching out in general. I just started talking to people, and it sort of opened doors. But networking was a big thing because people got to know who you are. They're not gonna, it helps to know somebody. It's who you know, not what you know.
And I'll give you guys a hint. The two people in the boxes here, you know them now, and we can help you network.
Yes.
So it's a good way to start. Use your resources. What are some good places to network?
Social media, for sure. Everybody's on Twitter. I would say gravitate mostly towards Twitter. Facebook, everyone's on Facebook, but I don't feel like it has that vibe for networking. I could be wrong. I'm sure the experience is different for other people, but for me, Twitter is my go-to for reaching out to folks and getting information and learning about new things. So go to Twitter. It's easier.
What has been the most surprising or interesting or otherwise unique aspect of working professionally as opposed to at Fresno State or Fresno City College or any place else?
You get paid for it. I had this sort of like humble moment where I was, when you're in school and you're doing homework and you're doing reports for classes, you tell yourself like, dang, I can't wait until I can actually do this to get paid for it, because you're putting in the work, you're putting in the time, the effort, etc. But you're just getting that grade, and the grade is great, obviously, because it progresses your career academically. But when you finally get to do that, and you get paid for it, it feels great. And of course, you don't just do it for the money, but it's a whole nother experience, it's a whole nother feeling. But it's fantastic.
What does your typical day look like? I know
Oh
typical
man,
is
yeah.
a weird term in news, but
Yeah. Geez. First thing I do is I check my email. You gotta know who's reaching out to you, and then you have to, obviously answer those mandatory emails that you get every day. And then I hit the web. What am I gonna write about today? And then I also look at our content bank, like what needs to be posted to the web, what needs to go on social media. And then once you're caught up, which sometimes you're never caught up, you start honing your craft. So then you're thinking about things that you can do for the future, what needs tidying up, how do you do this on Photoshop, or how do you run this on Premiere? And you just try to get better and better and better. But generally, yeah, my day is just get in my chair, check my emails, write for 7 hours, and then just see what else needs to be done, basically.
what are you writing? Are you doing original reporting? Are you taking things that the broadcast folks bring in? Are you doing press releases? What are your stories?
It's right now, it's a lot of just taking what the community needs to know and sort of sending that back out to them. So it's things that we're getting from agencies. So if there was a recent homicide case, or if there was a DUI accident, that's things obviously that the community needs to know. So I'm getting that information and I'm sending it right back out, but making it a little easier because Cop Talk isn't that fantastic. I would like to start dipping my toes into original content as far as like reaching out to folks, and that kind of thing. That's what I was trained to do at Fresno State. That's what I'm equipped to do. It's just because the business is so fast paced, you don't really get a lot of time to do that. Like I mentioned earlier, you get about an hour to pick and choose how you want to spend that hour. And sure, you could spend that hour reaching out to sources and or cultivating sources or creating your own unique content, or you can focus on the things that you already know how to do and how to make them better.
How big is the digital team there, more or less? It doesn't have to be.
Right now, 2 people.
Okay.
Obviously, the reporters help out too with the web, but people who are hired to write content in a digital format at the station, it's just me and another coworker. So every station is different. I hear others have teams. It's just for us right now, I think we're really doing a great job with just 2 people.
Do you see that expanding in the future?
I hope so. Yeah, that'd be great. That way I can have a little more time to start reaching out to folks and doing my own, my own content writing, whatever you want to call it, to make our station a little more unique,
How much do you have to pay attention to things like metrics and analytics and demos and that sort of thing?
That sort of thing is very important, believe it or not. I mean, I know a lot of people aren't as fascinated with Google Analytics as I am, but it's very important, because you can write something and think it's like the greatest thing it's since sliced bread, but metrics, it'll show you like, okay, it kind of did crappy. So then you could take that back and be like, okay, what can I do differently? Or what time should I post this? Or maybe I should change it up and write about something else. So you really have to not only know how to write, but also when to post things and how to craft it digitally to where it makes sense. And then you start to get into things like SEO, and it's a whole rabbit hole in itself. But it's very important though. So I think if people are on the fence when it comes to learning analytics and stuff, you should, before you even get into the industry, I think.
What are the types of things that you have found that people tend to click on? I mean, is it like visuals? Is it a headline? Is it, because you have to bring people in before they sit there and read a 600, 800,000 word story.
It's everything. It's your headline. It's your gallery, your photo galleries. It's your video. Whatever you have, the more things you can bring to that piece of content, the better. I mean, you can have like an amazing headline, but if your story reads like crap or there isn't any visuals, for example, you know, a lot of people click on our breaking news stuff. You know, there's an accident on Sean Blackstone. Okay, people are usually commuting in that area. It depends on what time. So they're going to check that out and they're going to want to know, but they're going to want to see what they're reading as well. So you definitely want to have everything when it comes to crafting an article. So again, to repeat, you know, you want to have your video, you want to have your photos, you want to have a great headline, and you want to know how to craft it well and put it together to where it makes sense.
How much of that stuff ends up on social, on Twitter, on Facebook?
As much as possible, you know, I mean, if I'm the only one who's running the web, it's kind of like I have to do all that. And so it's kind of like, okay, I have to spend X number of minutes putting it on the site, throwing everything that I mentioned into that. And then I have to move all that over to social and do that. So for the most part, I would say realistically, like 70% goes onto social channels. If I can, of course.
If you can. Yeah, you said it was faster paced than print digital, which
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, it is. Because from what I've gathered, learning when it comes to print and broadcast is print is very much like, okay, I could be completely wrong, but from what I've gathered is that like, okay, you go and you grab your story, you do your interviews, you have maybe a day or two to kind of write it and then send it off, and then it gets sent to the desk and then they edit, blah, blah, and then they send it to print. Broadcast, it's like you have minutes to get that story up, to throw those images up, to throw the video up, you have to edit it yourself. You know, it has to be perfect before you hit publish. And that's what I've noticed too about broadcast is like, you know, if there's only two people and I'm the only one writing on that shift, it's like there's really no editor. So I have to read my copy before I even click publish. So it's pretty intense.
How helpful is AP style?
Everyone's style is different, but AP style, I would say, is still important. I'm still an advocate of AP style.
You work for Sinclair. Is there a lot of sharing of content from station to station? I mean, are you getting stuff from, I'm from Portland, there's a Sinclair station up there. I mean, are you getting stories from Oregon and Washington and wherever else and putting them and then sending those off to other places too?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a license, I believe, with the Associated Press. So we get some of our content from AP. We do get a lot of content from our sister stations. For example, Como, I think, is one in up there.
In Seattle,
and then,
yeah.
Right. And then Bakersfield Now, we get some content from them. So pretty much we try to reach out to get content that's Central Valley, localish, sort of. California, I guess you would say, is local because, you know, it's California. But yeah, we reach out to them all the time when we get video. You know, there's chases that are happening in Los Angeles. It's like, oh crap, let's get that on our site, let's get that on social. And so we'll reach out to them, and then more often than not, they're willing to share it.
Is most of what you put up almost hyper local in nature? It's very, you know, Fresno-y area specific. I mean, obviously it's a little beyond Fresno, but just this area as opposed to national news, or, you know, how do you handle things like national news or international news?
So that sort of stuff we'll get again from the Associated Press. If there's something that the president's talking about, more than likely we'll write it, because we're going to put that on our site, and then we're going to have that Facebook Live feed on our site. So we'll generate that content. Let's see, like the Gabby Pepito thing that happened recently, that was big, right? So we're going to write that ourselves. But little things, not so little things, but things that happen in like China, or there's an explosion somewhere, more than likely AP is going to syndicate that to our website. So that's generally how we handle national things. The reporters do national packages, you know, for sponsorships, or there's like a promotional thing that Sinclair wants to run, and so they take care of that. But generally, when it comes to like national things, we mostly get it from AP.
So you networked and you got this job pretty darn quickly.
Yeah.
For people who are coming up on graduation, or who may even not be coming up on graduation, who might still have a year or two left,
Mhm.
what should they be looking for when they are applying for jobs? I mean, what do you know now, I guess, that you would be looking for if you were applying for a gig?
I mean, I would check out the qualification requirements for job listings. Let's say, for example, KMPH is your favorite news station. Figure out how we do things. How do we report on TV? How do we write on our website? How do we post on social media? What do our thumbnails look like? That sort of thing. So you're going to want to gravitate towards your favorite news station or outlet and see how they operate, because it doesn't make any sense for that outlet to hire you if you have no idea how they do things. So you at least want to get a little taste of what they do. But you should definitely be doing that. But then again, it really does come down to networking and talking to people. And I can't emphasize this enough: be a nice person. If you're a jerk and you walk into this news station, you think you're high and mighty, no one's going to care about you. So, and I only say that because, it's true. And I don't want anyone's feelings to be hurt on their first day. You're a newbie, get with it, basically.
This is also a very small business. We all
Yes.
know each other. I used to compare it to the Kevin Bacon game. I've found out most of my students don't know what the Kevin Bacon game is, because I'm a little bit older than most of them. But basically, we all know each other in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I worked with Monty Torres 20 plus years ago in Fort Myers, Florida. I move here and I find out, hey, one of the people I work with works with Monty, so very, very small business. A lot of the people that I worked with up in Portland came through Fresno at some point in time in their careers.
Mm-hmm.
We all know each other. So if you do start with a reputation that's not the greatest, word gets out quickly. And it's not that we're trying to be mean or anything, but
No, we all
but yeah.
talk too. So
Yes.
that's the that's the other thing.
Yeah, we're all connected. So I do have a number of students who are interested in sports, and I know that's not necessarily your niche, but do you have any advice for people looking at sports or looking at news or looking at any other specific, area?
Yeah. So the thing about broadcast, from what I've gathered, is you need to be the jack of all trades. You need to know how to write. You need to know how to record your own video, whether that's being done on a JVC camera or being done on your mobile device or a tablet, whatever. You need to know how to reach out to folks and network, of course. But you need to be a jack of all trades, because you can't just go in thinking, oh, I'm going to go cover this Fresno State football game and that's going to be it. It's like, no, you're going to have to record that video. You're going to have to do your own interviews. You're going to have to come back to the station and write up what you experienced and have to post it on the web. So don't think you can just go to a sports event, think that you can just cover it and do a couple of live shots and call it a day. It doesn't work like that.
Do you guys do a lot of live streaming type things, and does that go through you, or is that done separately from the two of y'all who do the digital things?
Yeah, we do a lot of live streaming. Whenever there's unfortunately an accident and we got a camera guy or a photog that's down there, we're going to go live. We're going to show people what it's like being there, because obviously folks are on their phones at work and they want to see what's happening. So we do that. We do a lot of live streaming when it comes to breaking news or even fun stuff. Like if there's something opening around town, we're going to throw that on our digital platforms as well, because not everyone has cable or anything like that. Everyone has a cell phone and everyone's on Facebook, so makes it easier.
And all that goes through you?
Yeah, or my coworker Steve.
Right.
Yeah.
Are the two of you there at the same time, or is it?
No.
Yeah. So
No.
so you really are pretty much on your own when you're there.
Yeah, flying solo for the most part, but I do get a lot of help though. A lot of the producers are writing scripts, and I'm able to sort of craft that in my own way, and throwing that up on our website. And the reporters, they help out a lot too. So I do say that, like, I'm by myself, but I'm technically not, because everyone at the station knows how to write, and everyone at the station is more than willing to help out, which they do all the time. So I'm grateful for that.
Excellent. This is more a Carrie question than anything else. What are some popular times that people are on their devices that this is a good time to post things? Is it around breakfast and lunch? That's what they used to tell us, but I don't know if that's still the case.
Yeah, that is still the case. Usually around 9 a.m. or when people first wake up, they're on their mobile devices. I know I don't do that anymore. When I first wake up, I don't check my emails. I don't go on Twitter or Facebook or any of that stuff. I had to stop that. But most folks do. Lunchtime, noon, 1, 2, 3, usually dies at about 4, 5, and 6 because people are having dinner or they're just getting off of work. And then right before bed. So about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I know Instagram usually blows up around 8 or 9. So
does that vary by platform?
It does. Yeah, it does. For the most part, it's about the same. It's just Instagram, for some reason, people are on it right before they go to bed. Maybe they're checking their, I don't know, DMs or whatever kids do these days on Instagram.
Interesting. Are you on TikTok?
What I've done in the past is just like breaking news stories. There really isn't much you can do, because I mean, like, think about it, right? From what I've done and seen and experienced with TikTok, it's all fun stuff. If people want to have a laugh, they want to watch a video for 30 seconds, if that, then move on. It doesn't really translate well throwing a package on TikTok, because a lot of folks might not be interested in that. So it's hard, right? You have to find what works. And from what I've done in the past is a lot of breaking news stuff, like unfortunately accidents or a train wreck or something that does pretty well. However, there was one time where I forgot where this was. Maybe it was in Turlock or Madeira. A ton of sheep just got loose, and that was kind of fun, right? Because they were running around in this neighborhood and they were eating grass off of people's lawns, and there were people just out, and so that was kind of fun,
Right. Yeah, we've tossed around the idea of adding TikTok to this, multimedia class, and it's just like, well, what exactly do we put on that? And from a student perspective, it is a little more difficult. We're not out chasing the sheep.
No. Maybe like if you were to implement that, maybe the now this style videos would work. Yeah, that's about it. Or if you guys want to have fun on Fresno State Focus, you guys can do that too.
Do you see local versions of like now this style videos?
I've seen ABC 30 do something like that. It's something that I definitely want to get into when I have the time to actually do that kind of thing. But I think people should know how to do that too, because you're not just writing and sending it off on the web, you're doing everything. So pay attention in Carrie's class and she'll teach you a thing or two.
I did not pay him to say that. Now, this is always talking to folks who do this every day is always very helpful to me as well as, my students. Is there anything else about working in the business, about the transition from being a student to being a professional? You have that recent experience. Any advice, any things to watch out for?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. The first thing I will say is, like, if you show up to a station, well, first you want to grab whatever anyone offers to you. I mean, obviously you want to make sure it makes sense cash wise, because you don't want to do a job where they pay you pennies and it's incredibly stressful. So make sure that when you're finding a job, it makes sense for you, because you have to take care of yourself. You got to eat, you got to put clothes on your back, etc. So don't feel bad if you're passing it up. Don't be afraid to open up. When you get to a spot, for the first month, I swear I didn't talk to anybody. I was such a hermit. And then people started nudging me and they kind of broke me out of that shell. So I really appreciate that. So make sure that you're still the outgoing person. If you are an outgoing person or an outspoken person, make sure you speak up. If there's something that's sort of troubling you, you got to talk about it and you got to let it out. Make sure you network, and make sure you're looking at, again, job postings and stuff, so you know what you're getting yourself into. Make sure you know how to do everything. Don't just think, again, can't say this enough, that you're just going in to write, or you're just going to go and cover a sports event. You need to know how to do everything from cutting video to audio and everything like that. But then also don't feel like you're stuck at a spot. I know that sounds kind of weird, but for me, it's like, this is a way to get your foot through the door. I'm gonna I love my job. I don't see myself going anywhere, anytime soon, at least. So don't feel like you're forced to stay at a spot. You can put in a year and then head to where you want to go. And that's the beautiful thing, is you're in at least in the broadcast world, you're able to go anywhere. If you want to transfer to Hawaii and there's a job opening over there and you land your job interview, see you later, enjoy the beach on your days off or whatever, so if you want to move to the city, like you want to go to San Francisco or Seattle, wherever, you're not stuck locally. It's just sort of where you get your foot through the door, and some people just stay, but don't feel like you have to.
And that is good advice there. We try to stress that mainly for broadcast folks, but it works for digital and anybody else too. Mm-hmm. I had my first job in Florida. Not really where I wanted to go, not where I wanted to be, but I got my time in, and then I moved to Oregon, and I was there for almost 18 years, and I loved it. So you get the experience, and then you go where you want to, or you stay where you are. So
right.
That is a beautiful thing about this business.
Yeah, you want to also make sure that you're learning as much as you can when you finally get to a station. My day mostly consists of writing and putting things on the web, but when duty calls, you have to jump at it when you can. There was a time where our we didn't have anyone running teleprompter. I don't know anything about teleprompters, and so I got like a 2-minute crash course on how to do it. And all it really is just a dial. You turn it and you follow the reporter. But I was so nervous. So you have to make sure that you're just like willing to help out whenever you can, however you can. Not only for the grade of like the station or where you're working, but also for yourself, because that's something you can throw on your resume. I can say I'm officially a qualified teleprompter person. So.
I did not roll the words backwards.
No.
Excellent. Because broadcast hours are sometimes a little on the wonky side, what is your shift, just out of curiosity?
So I am a Thursday through, oh my gosh, I have Friday, Saturday off. So basically the other days I'm working. I'm working the night shift. So it's 2:30 to 11:15. Some people are Monday through Friday. Some people, the schedules are different. And that's the thing, is your schedule is going to change whether you like it or not. And you have to just sort of take it. So don't feel like, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to get this new job and it's going to be 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and I'm going to have holidays off. Like, it's not going to work like that. Holidays aren't a thing, by the way. Mm-hmm. You're going to work holidays and get used to it.
Mm-hmm. As you move up the ladder, you can sometimes negotiate some of those off, but
that's right. Yeah.
But yeah. And then, in some places, well, since you do the digital side, if you are on the air, there are people who go to work at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm married to one of them. We work with a few of them. And then people are there until midnight, essentially. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like between midnight and 3, you have like an assignment desk person, and otherwise there's people there all hours of the day.
There's definitely someone showing up at like, I believe 1 or 3 in the morning, mm-hmm. running the desk, getting mm-hmm. content for the AM show and the PM show. And yeah, it's insane. I didn't know for a long time there was someone coming in at 1 a.m., but someone's got to do the job. Mm-hmm. Someone's got to do the job.
News does not stop because most normal people sleep overnight.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting and exciting job, and you get to see all the things that are happening first, and you get to share them with everybody, which is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure too when it comes to getting that stuff out there. And we're all I would say we're all pretty competitive in the industry, and we want to be first, but we also want to be accurate. You don't want to send something out and something's misspelled, or you've got this location wrong. And that's probably another thing your students should know and be prepared. Like, you're going to make mistakes. It just happens. You know, you're going to make mistakes in areas where you have no control of, like editing. You know, we have these things called push alerts. And I remember when I first started, I was so nervous because, again, it's so fast paced, and I obviously never worked in the industry and it was so new to it. So I'd kind of mess up. You know, I'd misspell things, or I would say things are here when they're actually over here. And those push alerts, you can't edit them. It's like, once they're gone, that's it. And 80, I don't know, our Twitter following, for example, is like 888,000 or something. Let's just say 88,000 people just saw my screw up. So that sort of thing is going to happen. I can guarantee you're not going to get everything 100% on the spot. So don't feel bad. You know, don't beat yourself up over that. Mistakes happen, but you want to learn from them. That's the important thing, is you learn from your failures. And if you don't learn from those, then you're kind of in trouble.
Yes. And if you can correct it, obviously you will.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
But should. Twitter doesn't have an edit button yet.
No, I heard somewhere there's like a premium service that's supposed to come out where you might be able to do that edit. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna cough up the $5 or something just to have it, or whatever it costs.
Right. Well, we'll see if I'll believe it when I see it, is pretty much what it comes down to.
Right.
But excellent. Well, thank you very much, Peter. This has been it's been good seeing you again. And this has been very enlightening. I can say that one of the there is another digital journalism major who's actually signed up for this class next term too, and I was very happy to see that. And if I remember correctly, you took my news video class too.
I took all of your classes, Kate.
You never came and joined us on crew. That was
no, well, because for the longest time I had no idea that, like, I didn't realize you can write for the web, and yeah, long story. But I wish I did, though. I wish I did, to be honest.
So it almost sounds like we need to kind of let people know a little bit more that we all do all of the things, so that we can cross-pollinate a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. You know, if you have students who are just going in there and they're like, oh, I'm going to edit video, that's what I want to do. Learn more other than that, obviously. You learn how to run the boards and the lighting and the cameras and all that other good stuff. So don't just focus on one thing. You have to do everything. And
it's fun. Sometimes you find out that you like doing something that you didn't know you were going to like doing.
Like teleprompter.
Yes, I've converted a couple of directors who didn't think that was what they wanted to do. So it's fun stuff. It's a fun business. All right, I'm guessing you are working this afternoon.
Yes.
Since it's not Friday or Saturday yet.
No, I will be at work later. So head over to KMPH.com.
There you go. Follow Peter on Twitter.
Yeah, if your students have any questions, like I tell everybody, just reach out. It's what is it, at Peter Lopez 05 rather. Send me a DM. Just if you have questions and you need me to look over something, you got an assignment, you got a Google Doc, I can read it over, whatever. Reach out. I don't care what time. I might take a minute to respond back because I might be doing things, but feel free. I mean, I'm here to help you guys, to get you guys where I work. So don't be scared.
Excellent.